How to change karma. How to change the negative effects of past karma. How can you be free from karma? So this brief discourse is about karma and how you can eliminate the negative effects of your previous karma. Before understanding how to alleviate negative effects of past karma, you have to first understand what is karma. Meaning of karma is doing. So when you refer as my karma, you are referring to my doings, my own doings. When you refer to the effects of karma or karmic influences, you are referring to the effects or impact which was created due to your own doing. So if you really want to change your karmic patterns and change your life, you have to first understand karma is not things happening to you, but karma is things that you have been doing, mostly unconsciously. For that matter, if you are consciously performing an act, it is not considered as a karma because you are fully conscious and aware about what you are doing. It does create impact on your life, but you can definitely remove negative effects when you are consciously performing any task. You are fully alert, aware, conscious, and if you are performing with total mindfulness, in fact, if you deeply understand the spiritual knowledge around karma, in fact, if you are fully present in performing a task, there's no effects from it. It's only a pure doing. It won't leave any imprints around because all your energy has been absorbed in performing the task. So let's understand. Now, you understand what is karma? Let's understand how to change karma influencing your life. So, if the very meaning of karma is your own doing, how do you change karma and change the life experience is by changing your own doing. So what are the ways in which you perform some kind of doing in your life? As human beings, we perform karma or we perform doing in three fundamental ways. Either we simply physically, manually, materialistically get involved with our body and perform certain tasks, certain actions. Or we perform certain actions through our words. Or we perform actions using our thoughts in our mind. So karma can be created through thoughts, words and deeds. Through thoughts, words and deeds. What people are struggling with when they refer to karmic influences is not necessarily the physical actions they are performing, because when you keep repeating the same thing for a while, and if you can become fully aware that it is not the right thing that you are doing, you can actually, with a lot of will and support, perseverance, change what you are doing physically. It's possible. Let's say someone is wanting to wake up early in the morning, especially a person who has been sleeping quite late, because this person has got a new job which requires the person to wake up early in the morning. But the old pattern of waking up late is still in the system. So this person can change his karma by keeping an alarm, asking the family and associates to provide support, to wake up in the morning, doing some physical exercises, changing diet plans so that previous day night you can eat very light and you can sleep early, therefore you can wake up early. So physical actions seems like rather simple to take control of and change with will and with awareness. Of course, if one doesn't want to change, they continue to experience the influence of their behaviors. Then the words also, you speak in a certain way and there are certain effects of your words. And then after a while you realize it's not bringing about the change you want in your life. You can hear your own words, and with will and desire, perseverance, you can change the way you speak the words. And certainly the effects of your words also can be experienced through the responses that you're getting from the outside world. So those two karma, words and deeds, is fairly simple, if at all, with awareness, then with choice, then with will and perseverance. One can change the way they speak, one can change the way they act or perform physically. But the most subtle thing is thoughts, because thoughts do come and go, they are so momentary, and unless you develop total awareness in every moment, you do not know what's happening in the silent space of your mind. Therefore, many thoughts come and then it affects your words, affects your body, and there are so much of effects through that. Even if you don't say a word or don't act but in a particular way, you are loaded with different thoughts in your mind, and with every thought, as much as with words and deeds, with every thought also it creates an impact or imprint. When I'm saying imprint or impact, every thought is a vibration, and with this vibration it creates certain influence, physical, materialistic influence, physical influence in the space, in the environment, in the energetic grid around you, in your life, in the world, in the universe. So people think all types of thoughts so casually, not knowing that it influences your own life, own world, own universe. That's why when you think a positive thought, you feel good. When you think a negative thought, you feel bad. But even if it feels bad, people keep on thinking negative thoughts totally because of habits. What do you mean by habits? And it's nearly impossible for people to think otherwise about certain subjects. They really want to. They keep saying, I want to change the way I think about it, but they cannot seem to wrap their head around it. The reason is, previously, you have been thinking that negative thought for a long, long, long time. And because of such thinking in your physical body, in your brain, and the rest of the body, there's nervous impact. Every time when you think a thought, it creates, it's like switching on a light. It's just like switching on something. So it has a neurological impact on your body, in the brain, and of course the nervous system runs throughout the body. So in the past, you have been thinking that thoughts for so many times, it is now automatically switching on. Let's say about a person or a situation or a particular subject in your life. When you see, hear, taste and smell that particular subject, or that particular subject comes into your attention or becomes the object of your attention, the neurological response that was previously wired get automatically loaded. So it feels like nearly impossible for you to change it. But I'm here to say to you, if you are willing, first if you are aware that this is happening, now you know the science behind it. So you're not, it seems like you're compulsively thinking about it and you cannot escape. That's why people are saying, my karma, it cannot be changed, I have to suffocate. No, you are suffering out of your choice. It is because of the neurological condition, which is total material or biological, physical, right, and has become totally unconscious, because your body is your unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, right? The real correct word is subconscious mind. So all these patterns are programmed and conditioned. So those programs get just automatically keep running, about job, about relationship, about sex, about money, about politics, about the country, the religion, simply about everything about your life, about you, physically or otherwise. So these programs just keep running, and literally it seems, unless you're fully aware, that's why I use the word total awareness, you cannot get a grip of, you cannot get the tail end of this cycle. So when people refer to karma, they refer as cycle, right? Yeah, life is also a cycle. Everything is cyclic in this universe that we are living in. That's right. So in a cycle, you cannot find the beginning and the end. Yeah, because it keeps rolling. But when you become aware, in any moment, when the awareness is fully ripe, that is, awareness is light. Light. Just like it's dark, you're waiting till the night is over, and around 6 in the morning, the sun starts slowly appearing, and there's light, and the darkness disappears. It dispels the darkness, and there's light. So when you have light, you can see things clearly. So awareness is like light. With awareness, you can see the pattern, when it started, how it started, why it started. This is the same thing that we do in hypnosis or hypnotherapy. I've been doing this practice many years ago. It was my profession. And even in that, what we are doing is helping people to bring about a positive change in life by changing these subconscious patterns, because they feel like it's nearly impossible for them to consciously change it, so they ask for help. So we tap into the subconscious mind and find out the data, the connections, the cause and effect, and we change the cause, so the effect changes. So I'm here to tell you that you can change karma. Means you simply can change the way you think, feel and do things, isn't it? That's why you are a human being. As a human being, you can anytime change the way you think, speak and do. So there are fundamentally, this initial discussion or explanation is for you to get a hang of this concept of karma and to really build the confidence in your mind, strength in your heart, that I can change my life by changing the way I think, changing the way I speak, changing the way I do things. To change the way you do things is sometimes difficult, although it's very visible and out there, because the first step or the first effect, cause of your doing is a thought. That's why many people do not know how to change the way they should behave, because they don't understand how they are thinking. So what is the advice? You got to get into meditation. You got to get into deep, a very profound, consistent practice of being self-aware, rather than working through life like a robot or a machine, or for that matter, just like any other animal, just running through the momentums and motions of life without being aware. I think we are now in a time, an era in this universe, in this physical universe, whatever you're referring as universe or the world. We are in a time where majority of mankind is required to go in silence, meditation. Major part of your day should be dedicated to meditation, and the rest of the time for other things. Can you imagine? Yeah. Majority of mankind must slow down in their doing and start meditating, going in silence. Majority. The beauty of this is, even if there's not majority but a very minor number of people are doing this, sages, spiritual teachers, those enlightened ones, and simply those people, those hermits, let's say, they're very small number who have dedicated finding the truth within, because everyone else want to find truth outside. And all I can say is that it is impossible to find the truth outside, because outside is created from within, and one will have to go through many number of lifetimes to find truth if they're seeking it outside. But it's a matter of just closing your eyes and go within if you really want to find answers to the problems in your life, problems in the world, problems in the society. More you go inwards, easier for you to deal with things which is happening outside. However, majority of mankind is unconscious, and they are programmed to take actions, think in a linear way, and they are thinking the cause is outside, the effect is outside. So when there's effects, they find the cause outside and try to fix it. But you can already see, even for the pandemic, everyone is trying to fix the cause outside, but it doesn't necessarily seem to change the scenario. We are predicting this pandemic condition to evolve into different stages, and it might continue for maximum another 3-4 years to be fully eradicated from the Mother Earth, because it's not about finding a vaccination. It's about evolving our consciousness as human beings. But because majority of mankind is unconscious, the evolution might happen slowly. Those ones who are awake, very little number, doing different parts of the world, doing their work, either speaking to people or not speaking a word, but being in silence, in deep meditation, they are impacting. So what I wanted to tell you is, even the number of people who are going inwards and into meditation in silent retreat is very small from the total population of the world. Their awareness, their spiritual knowledge and consciousness is good enough for the rest of the world, to secure the world. So as much as there are people trying to fix it outside and really putting a good effort, dedicating their life, committing, like doctors, nurses, and other social workers, a lot of people are really putting a lot of effort to fix it outside, and that's really good. There should be many number of other people also doing internal work. So as human beings, we can change our karma by changing the way we think about the current situation, or for that matter, anything in life. So simply, there are 2 things you can do anytime. Let's say, even in your deathbed, even if you're sick, even if you are broke totally, or you lost one of your loved ones, you lost your job, You're in a really bad physical condition. Anytime you can do this. This may sound hard, but I know it's possible because I've done that. I have done that. And I'm not a superhuman being. No, every human being can do this. Any situation in your life, first thing, you can just be crazy happy. You do not let the condition to take over you. You just keep being happy and joyful, laughing like a small child. Can you imagine a little child receiving a small toy which is made from totally garbage or things in the nature, something so natural outside, and a baby is given, and this baby does not attribute it, the mind is not corrupted, so the baby is not putting value to the gift, but the baby is so happy with what they're getting, and they're just so cheerful totally on its own. So if you are going through a tough time and you understand the concept of karma, at least the basic idea of karma, you can't get head or tail around your thinking patterns. You are not fully aware. You haven't done any meditation in the past, and you may think like, okay, it's my karma, I gotta deal with it. No, you can change it at least now. Whatever the past thinking has made the present effects, whatever the past cause has made the present effect. So if you want to change it further, you can do it right now. Guys, just being happy unconditionally, smiling, just being happy. This may sound difficult, but try and do it. You will be so surprised. This is one way. Before you get into a very high level of personal mastery where you are fully aware of your thoughts, just like a surgeon doing a brain surgery, and such a subtle, there are few brain surgeons in the world, for that matter, right, or neurological surgeons. So when they're doing a surgery, they have to be super alert, super careful, and they have to pick the right thing to be removed or adjusted. So similarly, only after certain number of years of practice of meditation and self-awareness and loads of spiritual practices, one can remove thoughts like that or alter thoughts just like that. But until you come to that stage, if you're going through a tough time, just be happy inside of you. Close your eyes, just be happy. So initially, just as a help, you can think of at least one simple thing that made you happy initially. Then the brain has a trigger, and then from that you can sustain that momentum. The second thing you can do in a time where you feel that this karmic influence is taking over your life and you're unhappy, you want to get out from that cycle, you got to create a mindset like a rock, like steady, stable, rock-like mindset, unwavering, not swaying, steady. This of course will take some time for someone to develop, because when you say karma and pain and all that stuff, is actually, when you refer bad karma, you're referring to the unhappy or painful feeling or the sorrow you are feeling inside of you. Okay, so anytime when you're referring to I'm going through a bad karmic time, etc., you're referring fundamentally to the way you feel. So you got to bypass the way you feel. This is the key. You have to bypass the way you feel. So how do you bypass the way you feel? Is by just being happy, totally doing something and just being happy, or create a steady rock-like mindset, which requires practice, but it's possible. Usually it has been reported, I mean, even in my life, I have learned to be just happy, at the same time just steady like a rock, because of extreme adversities I've gone physically, mentally, emotionally, in terms of relationships, etc. In adversities, I have become stronger. That's what I'm trying to say. It's possible to shift the gears. And the third thing, simple thing, if maybe you're not going through a sort of a grave, painful, karmic influence at present, maybe it's just, you are handling, you're managing, you are good enough, but you can be better. What you can do is you keep changing the way you think and speak about that particular problem or subject in your life. You keep changing it towards positive. You keep changing towards positive. If you cannot talk anything positive about that subject, don't talk about it. Or else you think neutral thoughts about it. So it's, let's say it's difficult for you to think neutral thoughts, difficult for you to think positive thoughts. Simply take your attention, remove your attention away from it, and keep talking about all the good that is happening in your life. But I want you to know this is not a remedy. I'm just giving all types of possible options or ways to deal with karma, your past doings, through your thoughts, through your words and deeds. I am helping out different people at different levels of awareness. So, but this last thing I mentioned is not necessarily a remedy or a solution, okay? But it definitely can help. You keep removing your attention away from the problem until you feel somewhat solid, rock solid, or stable, or happy and easy. Simple words, you're confident enough to handle the situation. Don't go head on. Just go around it talking other things around it, right? Like trick your mind. It's not recommended for all people, but some people may be able to do this at least and bring about a change in their life, okay? And the other one is for those so-called spiritual seekers, spiritual aspirants. There are people who are living the mundane day-to-day world life, but deep inside they are spiritual seekers, they are spiritual aspirants. They know they are here to self-realize, self-actualize, be enlightened, become one with God, realize God, all that stuff. So these spiritual aspirants can use, let's say, a particular word as a trigger. Usually we call it mantra, right? That's why in the ancient, let's say, most of the Hindu traditions related to Hinduism, you find these mantras as sadhanas, spiritual sadhanas, and certain mantras are introduced so that people can keep repeating it in a way that they don't allow any other neurological wiring or trigger to take place in their system, right? Their nerve system is kind of cooled down and sort of made numb, for that matter, not allowing other thoughts, but just this thought, let's say thought of God. But how are you thinking a thought of God? That's where they introduce a word, which is a mantra. So so one can use a word, like let's say we consider Buddhism for that matter, right? People who are into meditation, let's say Vipassana, or even Samatha, right? Sometimes use these triggering words, like one word. Let's say in Buddhism, fundamentally existence is explained having three character traits: anitya, dukkha, anatma. This everything in this existence is transient, it's not permanent, it's consistently changing. Therefore it is, if something is impermanent, it does not necessarily satisfy your whims and fantasies and cravings. It is not worthy to get hold on to these things which are transient, right? And things are consistently changing. So the meaning of anitya, dukkha, anatma is things are impermanent, things are consistently in a flux, in a momentum of change. None is actually eternally staying, although it seems like, sounds like, feels like it's permanently there, including the sense of self, of me, I am, but none of it is really real. Right? So you get deluded into things which is non-real, and then you get caught up wanting things to be real, right? So it's non-real, it's transient, it's changing, and anatma is, there's no permanent sense of self doing anything. So even your idea about yourself is not stable, steady, permanent self, although you consider yourself to have a permanent life and you want things to be permanent, steady and stable. So for Buddhists, right, especially the ones who are genuinely interested in enlightenment, not just practicing rituals, they are the people who keep on reminding themselves of these words. So they are triggering words. They understand the very existence of nature. They have been introduced these words, but the subconscious mind, it's not fully, let's say, it has not fully grasped this idea. Therefore, there are these moments where you lose that understanding and then get to the dream life or the delusional life and get caught into the drama and get affected, which is what we call as effects of karma. So Buddhists, let's say, they practice words like anitya, 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 meaning impermanent, 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 or anatma. Certain people, like, there's no permanent, solid self doing these things. So things are happening to a permanent self. So anatma. Dukkha is, none of this is really giving you any pleasures, although you want pleasure in the external conditions because you believe things to be real, but actually things are not real. So one can use these words with understanding when the negative thoughts about certain aspects of your life keep coming. You can practice anitya, anitya, anitya. Or, I've heard these Hindus, even chanting words like Rama, 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 or Om for that matter, or Shiva, right? And my students practice JayaShri, 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 whatever it is, right? You can, when the negative thoughts, or see, you're doing things with your thoughts, I mentioned to you earlier. So if you are doing things with your thoughts, it doesn't make you feel good, but you feel like, I can't change my thoughts. What you do is you negate the effects of those thoughts by introducing these words. Every time about a particular subject which you think you're suffering in your life, when such thoughts come to your mind, before it becomes an action, you keep chanting these words in your head, any word that you resonate with, right? And what happens is then it's like an old switch is waiting to be switched on unconsciously, but you're conscious, so you switch on a new thought, new word. This new word becomes a new switch in your neurology, and that after a while, this new mantra or the word that you're using as a meditative trigger, this thought becomes stronger, and it will create enough momentum. The word is enough momentum or neurological impact to change the way you feel. Means change the neurological change will change the chemistry in the body, so the way you feel changes. Now you are steady, stable. Now you can change your life. For that matter, when the old thought is not happening in the same way it used to, you have changed your life. You have changed the effect. So there's a new cause. So you have changed your karma. Okay. Of course, things that your ancestors have done, the whole mankind, humanity together have done, it's all in your DNA. It's coded. There can be things that you must go through, as it is part of your evolutionary process. That pain, that suffering, you have to go through. So that, in other words, I'm referring to those karma that you cannot change. It's like, you draw a line in the water. the very moment you draw the line, it's gone. You draw a line on the sand, like a normal sand, it remains. After a while it disappears. You draw a line on the sand of a beach, it disappears with one wave. And imagine someone somehow take a sharp object and draw a line on a steel or on a rock. Keep drawing it, it will create a almost like a permanent impact for centuries. So remember, as a human being, when you're born at this time space reality, through your mother, father, through your ancestry, you have inherited those karmic baggages that you must carry and, so to say, suffocate. Like the way Jesus carried the cross, you must carry certain burdens of all your ancestry, because you borrowed this body. It is a borrowing, so with that borrowing comes all the goods and the bads. So some karma cannot be changed, you must face it, both goods and bads, right? So when you're having your body, you have a wonderful life experience, it's a good karma. And when bad things happen, people want to run away. I don't understand that. I think you must face it head on, because the only way you can end that karmic debt with your ancestry and the Mother Earth, because the whole humanity has contributed to your well-being, although you don't see it immediately in every moment, right? So only a fully enlightened one sees that they don't belong, that the body does not belong to them, it's belonging to the whole existence, so they don't get attached to that. Also, they consider it as reverent, they treat it kindly. Similarly, they understand all the pains and the pleasures, all transient, but it is also belonging to the whole mankind. So when you're suffering, don't think you are suffering alone. Everyone is going through that suffering. If you're having a pleasure, don't think you're only by yourself having that pleasure. Every other being, human being, is going through the pleasure. Right, it's not individualized, although we feel individually, it's for all. So deal with goods and bads equally. That's why I mentioned you create that rock like steady, stable, middle centered mindset. That's the ideal way to go through life anyway, until you come to that place. Rest of these explanations, the techniques and the methods I've suggested can be useful for you to change the karma, thereby change the way you feel. Because the motivation to change karma should not be only to make a good life for yourself, but actually, since you have borrowed this body from this whole existence, first from the seed from your mother, father, through your ancestry, and then the food that you consumed from this existence, the air you were breathing, the water you were consuming, sun, the energy of the sun you have been exposing, so it all belongs to the mother nature. None of your body is belonging to you, please remember that. And it is consistently changing, because everything in nature is changing. So you must first understand it doesn't belong to you, and it is changing eternally. So one of these days it will go back to nature. So don't get hold on to it too tightly, but treat it very nicely, care for it. When it is not responding to you in the way you expect it, that means a karmic pattern is taking place, or negative karma is there. In that moment is where you have to now get into a spiritual practice where you resolve it peacefully, because when you do that, all your ancestry will be healed, all humanity will be healed. All right, every impact, everything you think, say and do has a ripple effect. Everything you think, say and do has a ripple effect, massive ripple effect. Okay, so you're 100% responsible for your doing. Therefore, your karma is your karma. No one is doing things to you, only you are creating it. In the past you did certain things you were not aware, so the effects of them are experienced by you. All right, so use a mantra or a powerful word that you feel resonated with to replace negative thoughts, because until the impact or imprint energy of the negative doing of a thought is sort of diminished, negated, diluted, you have to keep strengthening the with a positive thought, which is a powerful word, which generally we consider as a mantra, right? So these are some techniques one can use to change their own doing, means change their karma. Change the cause, then the effect will be changed. You're 100% responsible for your life. Only you are responsible. Every moment, in the moment of death, whatever you have been practicing during the lifetime will come in as total package, as a like a intensified moment. So I'm asking you, are you ready to face that moment? So everyone must live life so totally, then only they can be fully ready to face death any moment. I send lots of love and blessings to all.
JayaShri Maathaa, 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 JayaShri Maathaa.